From the 7 wonders of the world, the only one remaining are the pyramids, and they really are wonderful. And I'm going to do some sketching, and I thought what I would do the scene behind me to sort of get used to where everything is, and it will set the scene for me. Before I started sketching, I walked around the site just to soak up this incredible atmosphere. The pyramids lie just west of Giza, a suburb of Cairo, which is a vast city of 16 million people, and which you can see stretching away into the distance. There are 3 main pyramids, built roughly 4,500 years ago as tombs for 3 pharaohs. This is the Pyramid of Chephren, which is nearly 450 feet high. It's amazing to think that there are over 2 million stone blocks in this pyramid, and some of them weigh over a ton. At the top of the pyramid, you can see the remains of the limestone casing, which once completely covered 2 of the pyramids, and which would have made them even more impressive than they are now, and that's saying something. I've got to start small, or I'm not going to get everything in. Because it's, as always, large monuments. You always tend to make them larger on the paper. I've just got to see whether I can even get this in yet. Let's have a look. That goes further down there, down, and then there's a gap, and then another one. This is a smaller one. We'll just about get that in. And this is even taller still. That's, I think, I'll just draw the line of sand that they're on, coming all the way down. Just do a quick measure. The height of that goes into that, so this should be really, this pyramid is just a bit further over. So that, gosh, we only just get it in at this scale. Still, it's a nice scale to work to. That's just, oh, that's got a bit of a square top on. The reason the top looks square is that the apex was removed, reducing its height by 33 feet. The pyramid nearest us looks bigger than the one behind. In fact, they're both roughly the same size. This is simple perspective. Then we have this broken top on this, and then we've got a shadow side down here. It's funny, it seems to get lighter at the bottom. Perhaps it's reflection from the sand. Oh, and this is important, there's a van just gone down there and a car coming up, because that, believe it or not, is a road running round the pyramids, and then in the background is Cairo. This pyramid's a bit closer here, and yet it's smaller. Now, Cairo is full of, from here, high-rise buildings. There's a lot of hotels down there, apartments, and they're all in this sort of valley below all the pyramids. And then they just disappear into the distance and into a sort of murky heat haze, and it is quite warm up here. At the same time, it's very windy, and it's nice that the wind is here, because the wind is certainly helping to cool things off, which is very important when you're sketching like this, because too much heat is not good at any time when you're working, especially if you're sitting in the sun. Earlier there was a couple of camels that came down here that had been absolutely perfect, but before I got round to it, they'd gone, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it then. We've just got a few more buildings coming around the side. And perhaps just a suggestion of some rocks in here. And that is all I would do for... Oh, hang on, tell you what I will do. There's some... I've just seen some bigger stones or rocks around there, which is rather nice. It just helps to give a bit more something to the foreground. So we put those in. And that is all I need. But what it's done is to set the scene. I feel now as I'm part of the pyramids, as I'm all prepared to go round and look at them and see what's going on and find somewhere else to sketch. The pyramids sit at the edge of the desert that stretches hundreds of miles to the west. Looking at scenes like this really takes you back in time and fires the imagination, and it's hard to believe that Cairo is so close. I'm heading towards the bottom of the hill below the pyramids to look for something to sketch in watercolour. This has to be the first subject I do. I know it's very classical, the Sphinx with the pyramid behind, but oh gosh, isn't it fantastic? I've got to sketch this. Trying to paint the Sphinx while it looks down on you is a little unnerving, but the first thing to do with a subject like this is to get on and draw it. A lot of areas around here are so big and vast are the objects that we're drawing. It sometimes you seem as though you're not getting the real scale, simply because everything is so big. I mean, looking up here at where the camels are, it really is, and the people, they're so small. In fact, I've just seen one up there, and literally it's no bigger than that, with somebody on top and another one there, and up near the pyramid, people are even smaller still. And I'm just putting these little dots of suggestion of people because that's all they are at the very top. And we've got shadow that goes all the way around here. Actually, this is a lovely shadow actually that comes all the way down and round, all the way down this side of the face. And comes down, leaves it there. Then we're onto more stone, and this is coming down further. This is all sort of worn away, of course. But we can see almost lips there, and let's just see what could be an ear there. These are all these rocks are coming down very close to me. These rocks. I'm not going to bother much with them, of course, but just to show that they are in front. And there's a big one here in front, a dark one actually, quite dark. That looks almost a different colour stone. I want to shade the pyramid in because that is a dark stone against the sky. There we are, that's... Oh, a camel's just gone up there. He's gone, but trying to remember what he looked like, was walking up there. Much closer, of course. Lovely. At least I've got a suggestion of him in. The edges of these are not straight. They've got all sort of jagged bits on them where the stone is standing out, and they've also got markings where the stone has been taken away in the past. Another person stood there, people around. Right, okay. Now, I think I'll put some colour on this now. I won't put a lot on, but it needs colour. It needs colour, especially the blue sky. Right, well, the first thing I'm going to do is the sky, as usual, especially with watercolour. And it's simply painted with ultramarine and a touch of crimson. And I'll add a little bit more crimson. It's going to dry exceptionally quickly because of the warm sun. And when I say warm, it really is warm. Down here, just go around. Look how wet I'm painting. You can see all the blobbles of water. Well, don't worry, you've got to have it wet. on a day like this. It's almost dry now at the top. Now, then the pyramid colour, make sure you always mix enough, or otherwise, if you're halfway through a wash, especially on a day like this where it's drying so quickly, then you wouldn't be able to mix enough paint or new paint to be able to continue with your wash. Now the pyramid, it's rather strange because it's dark because it's silhouetted and it is quite dark. Now the top is lighter than this. I'll put the first wash on. I might find that I need to add a little more depth to the colour or to the tone of it later, but let's just get it in to start with. It's most important. It's actually quite bluey down near the bottom. I don't mind some sort of this drying in places because it helps to give more relief of all these stones on there. But if you notice that I'm adding blue, by the way, if you notice I've got the blue coming down nearer the bottom to make it dark nearer the bottom, and also, yes, it is quite dark around there, and also you see some of the shapes that have formed with the pencil shading. And that, of course, is coming through, which is helping to give us the shape and form. Now, I must put that lighter area on the top, or it looks as though it hasn't got a top. It looks like snow almost if I don't do that. So let's get this top area in. We've now got some yellow sand that comes through at the top, and it runs through the middle here as a strip. The sun has changed, of course, at the moment, as it always does when you're working, and so you're getting different shapes and different colours as you're painting. But there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. I said before, when you're painting from nature, you've got to accept what happens. And then the sand continues into a hill through there. I'm using yellow ochre and crimson for the Sphinx, and a little bit, I might use a little bit of cadmium yellow, but I will have to put a dark shadow on, or darker shadow on slightly when I've done it. So here we go. Let's put, that's it. You see how your dark comes in because of the shading underneath? You're not having to change the colour of the paint, or the tone of the paint to make it darker. And I'm going in cross brush strokes because the whole sort of form is on plinths running along, and this naturally gives it the shape of the stones. Now, I think, yeah, just a little bit of dark on there, and I reckon I'm going to call that a day on that. Perhaps just to suggest there, a bit of life. Oh, I'll tell you what I will do. I'm going to use a number 6 brush for this, just to get some darker area, or darker camels. They're just a bit weak now we've got colour in. And there's people all up here on a big rock. Camel up there, and the chappie on top. Just brought them forward that little bit, and then we've got all these people up here. There's quite a conglomeration of camels and horses at the bottom there. I mean, I'm not painting horses, I'm not painting people, I'm just doing brush strokes. And these brush strokes will just give us the shape or the suggestion of people. Right, a little bit of shadow in there, down onto there, the shape of the rock. Flies, gosh. And it is very hot. And I suggest you don't, if you paint out here, you don't stay out a long time. Now, I think, see how that has dried? That was a wet brush. It's just dried, that's better. That's it. Yep, I'm happy with that. Now, you don't need to cover the whole thing in paint when you're sketching. You've still got the colour, you've got the stones all coming down, which I've left in pencil. But the important thing about this was to get the Sphinx and the pyramid. And so I'm happy leaving it like that. I just put one little bit of dark in there that I've just seen, just helps the shape a bit more, and that's it. Just seen the Sphinx from a different angle, and I'm going to just do a very quick pencil sketch. Very quick, it's just almost a silhouette of it. It's amazing what features there is. Of course, I didn't see them because of the light, but there's some. My face looked really funny when I did it on the front view. But even so, it's got quite a bit of character still left in there. You know, this is all in reasonable shadow. There's also a shadow cast, quite a sharp one cast through here. It's very crisp on the edge there. And that stays dark all the way down. Seems to have more of a pointed chin than I've done. It sort of goes out like that, I think, and under. It's always nice to have some crisp lines where you can, because this gives real definition. Just a shadow under here. And lines, bits of markings on it. Well, I don't know whether it's right, but it looks strange actually. I think the face should have been a bit wider, but it doesn't worry me because I've drawn it. I had to do it quick with all these people. It wasn't a case of standing and just taking my time. It had to be done quick, and it's there. I'm happy with it. It's been a great day at the pyramids, and I've got a lot of sketching done, but I can't go without sketching a camel. And they've told me that if I sketch a camel, they'll give me a ride. But we'll see about that. Right, as always, I've got to be very, very quick on this. There's not much time. The chap with the camel might decide to go. I don't know. You can never tell. Fortunately, when the camel is sitting like this, there's a better chance, of course, of the camel staying there and not getting up and moving away. So let's hope that this happens. Up with his neck. They look so sort of almost snooty. They've really got this sort of, oh, look, in their eyes. When he opens his mouth, he's got all teeth around here, but I don't know if I can show the teeth, but I can certainly show the mouth opening because they seem to open it a lot. It's amazing. It's windy up here. You don't think of wind in heat, but believe me, it is very windy. Now, oh, here's the wind again. I can feel it coming. Oh, it's nearly blown me off my feet. So that's one leg over there, and the other leg is round here. And that leg, of course, is in shadow there. And then his tummy goes up here, and all these black tassels are on the ground. There's something blowing there in the wind. And we've got tassels on here. There's another, whatever it is, hanging down here with a pom-pom on. He's in shadow there. Pebbles and things. Now let's, oh gosh, he's turned, he's come round again. He's sort of, his shoulder is up here, so all his cloak coming down. Nice dark suntanned face, and the turban around the top, and an arm coming here. we are. That's, you know, just rest him in the stones that he's on, because there's a lot of stones around here, and the shadow going down here. Here we are, just put a few more stones. It's really sort of stones and sand that's down here, but it's always nice to position something on the ground. There we are, just darken that under there, just to bring this blanket over, and a bit of dark under there, and it is quick, but I think it's got it.
How could you not fall for a face like that? For some strange reason, everybody seemed keen that I should have a ride on the camel I'd just sketched. That's hard at the back. Oh. Lean backwards. It's a long way up. You look a long way down there. I always thought a horse was high, but believe me, it's a bit higher. I feel as I'm on the top of the pyramid. And off we went into the desert, for what I have to admit was not a very long walk. Well, after a very, very hot day with the pyramids and that camel ride, it's nice to be back on board. But still, we got quite a lot done. I enjoyed it all day by the pyramids. And, of course, I did the Sphinx and the pyramid in the background. That was one that I did. And then the side view of the Sphinx. Pencil sketch, but it was nice to see it differently, especially when I painted it from one other angle. Now, I did this sketch of the oasis from the side of the pyramids. It was something I saw, and it looked very Arabian Nights-ish, and the camels are there. I used a thick pencil, a thick nib one, so I could really sketch it in quickly and get a lot of tonal work in it, and this, of course, helped for the trees and the palm trees. And then, of course, the very long distance shot where we've got all three pyramids, just to sort of give us a feeling of where everything was, and the background of Cairo. And then the camel. Well, of course, I had to draw the camel. Don't forget, I got a ride on the camel for drawing it. Anyway, we're leaving Egypt now, and we're heading north to the Eastern Mediterranean for Israel. See you next time. And in the next programme, I'll be visiting Jerusalem, and I hope you'll join me.